Caloroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Some big shows were announced, including John Mulaney's new stand-up tour. It is called Mr. Whatever, and he announced it from the backseat of his kidnapper's car. Tickets for the shows go on sale today at 10 a.m. local time. The shows will feature guest appearances from Jon Stewart, Pete Davidson, Martin Short, and others. In a promo video teasing Mr. Whatever, John Mulaney can be seen blindfolded with his hands pounded in the back of a car as two men with blurred faces and distorted voices sit beside him. Let's listen.
Hey, it's me, John Mulaney, and I've got great news. I'm going on tour. My new tour, Mr. Whatever, is coming to a city near you. Pre-sale starts April 23rd with the pre-sale code MR, and you can get tickets at johnmulaney.com. Hope to see you at a show.
10 a.m. local time, you gotta say.
What?
Pre-sale is at 10 a.m. local time.
What do you mean local time?
So, like, if you're on the West Coast...
No matter where you are, it's 10 a.m.?
Yeah.
Tonight on Netflix, John has Conan O'Brien, Ayu Edaberry, Rita Moreno, the curator of the Dinosaur Institute at the National History Museum, and music from Mets, M-E-T-Z, not the baseball team that I root for. I was thinking more about Mulaney's show, and I don't want to just pile on, but one of the YouTube comments got me thinking about it. You know what it is? I think I finally zeroed in on this. It's that the guests don't know what to do. The show is so chaotic, the guests don't know. Should they just grab the reins and do their thing, or should they hang back and let the other guests talk? That's what the big problem is with the show and the way it's formatted. I will reiterate my advice. All you have to do tonight is go, my first guest is Conan O'Brien, and then stop talking to the point where if you didn't say another word, Conan would just fill the void and make a bit of it and probably host the show himself. Anyway, I like John a lot. I don't want to just pile on. Meanwhile, Gabe Iglesias and Joe Coy announced they will be headlining the first stand-up performance at SoFi Stadium, this one March 21st of next year. Their aim is to sell out to 70,000 fans. If they hit that number, it would eclipse the current Guinness World Record holding comedy audience of 67,733. You know who has that record? Wrong. It is German comedian Mario Barth. He did this at the Olympus Stadion in Berlin in 2008. Gabe Iglesias, who was co-headlining with Joe Coy, joked, for one day, the two of us will be Taylor Swift, which is pretty funny because you may remember Taylor Swift nearly destroyed Joe Coy's career by giving the ice face to this joke.
The big difference between the Golden Globes and the NFL, on the Golden Globes, we have fewer camera shots of Taylor Swift.
Apparently, Gabe and Joe are friends. They frequently pop up at each other's shows, and they decided to do a co-headlining appearance together. One night only. They're doing their sets back-to-back. I wonder who opens and closes there. I would guess Joe opens for Gabe would be my guess, especially in L.A. They promise special guests, surprise moments, and plenty of other hilarious interruptions. Gabe said, I think every time that we crash each other's shows, we see the reaction of the fans, and people get excited. And the more we do that, the more we realize we have a lot of the same fans. We've always wanted to do shows together. Yeah, like trying to make it make sense. We have a date for David Spade's Dandelion. This will be on Amazon Prime May 6th. In Dandelion, David Spade tells us about the perils of flying, charity auctions, and the evolution of naughty movies. Nudge, nudge. Kevin Hart, never afraid to work. He's got another gig. This time, he'll be hosting the BET Awards Monday, June 9th on BET. Hart has hosted the awards before, back in 2011. BET president Scott Mills said for over a decade, Kevin Hart has been a beloved part of the BET family, and we couldn't be more excited to have him return to host the 25th anniversary BET Awards. Sounds like Bowen Yang is kind of done with SNL the more interviews I read with Bowen, and he's been doing a lot of them. I think he's checked out. I think he's laying the groundwork for exiting the show, and I would totally understand it. To me, I think if you're going to get out, now's the time to get out in the 50th season. I could see 51 being a total rebuild, unless you just want to pull a Keenan. Like if you're Jost and Che, just sit at that news desk for another 10, 15 years until Lauren's replacement kicks you out. But, you know, if you're Bowen Yang, yeah, it might be time to move on. Bowen says, SNL is just this moving, living, breathing thing, especially after the 50th. I'm seeing what life after the show is like and how beautiful it is, and how many people, no matter how long they were at the show, are just with their families and loving their lives and not letting the years take away any of that experience for them. He addressed the production schedule, saying, the new season of SNL, I'm just like, oh, right, my time isn't my own. And I tell my friends, I'm not really going to see you guys until June. And people that I've gone on a couple solid dates with, I'm like, hey, it's not for lack of interest. My time is really slipping away from me, and I'm so sorry. And it's not a you thing. It's a me thing. I think one of the best parts about working at SNL is whenever you're not working on your own, because you're helping somebody else, a cast member, execute on their vision. So they're coming up to you being like, you need to dress up as a drone. You need to dress up as a Chinese spy balloon and do blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, sure. You get shot out of a cannon in so many of these situations that it kind of breaks down all your hesitancies around doing anything that has only served me. I mean, every now and then, a lot of times it'll be like egg on your face. You'll make an ass out of yourself, but I never ever weigh that against the wonderful things that I've gotten to do. The Webby Awards have announced the winners. Now, the ceremony's not for another couple weeks. I don't understand how this works. The Webby Awards will be hosted by Ilana Glazer on May 12th, but they've already announced the winners. Okay. Marcelo Hernandez from SNL is receiving a Special Achievement Award. It's the Webby Outstanding Comedic Performance Award. The logic there is the award recognizes his sharp, culturally resonant humor on SNL and his viral impact on the internet, redefining digital comedy for a new generation. I mean, I like the guy, but he kind of does one thing over and over and over on SNL. Anyway, if you want to give him an award, go ahead. Webby's called him one of the most electrifying new talents in digital comedy. They singled out Domingo. Yeah, everything he does is a variant on Domingo. SNL's live show coverage on Instagram Stories scored 2 wins for Best Use of Stories. Both the official Webby and the fan-voted People's Voice Trophy. The Daily Show got 3 wins of its own, including Best Social Trophy in the Comedy Division, and both the Traditional Webby and the People's Voice Award for Best Social in the News and Politics Division. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon won Best Use of Vertical Video for its 9:16 content. What are we doing? Kimmel won Best Social for a television show or film. People's Voice winner in that same category went to Colbert. Meanwhile, Seth took home a podcasting Webby for the 10th anniversary oral history of Late Night with Seth Meyers. The audio series Best Individual Episode from a TV show or film. Best Podcast Host went to Conan O'Brien. Jon Stewart named the People's Voice winner for Best Host for The Weekly Show. Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers won Best Podcast Comedy for Las Culturistas. The People's Voice Award for Best Co-Host went to The Lonely Island and Seth Meyers. The Webby Awards, can you wait? May 12th. All right, let's stop off on Gossip Corner. A friend of the show, Scott Beckett, sent this to me via the Wall Street Journal. A very seemingly complicated kerfluffle involving Kevin James is so complicated, I had to ask ChatGPT to summarize it for me because I didn't understand it when I read it. According to Chat, Kevin James has found himself caught up in the bankruptcy proceedings of National Realty Investment Advisors, a real estate company that filed for Chapter 11. As Chat understands things, the company had sold Kevin James a mansion. However, that deal has turned into a legal battle. The mansion, initially purchased by National Realty Investment Advisors for $7.1 million in 2017, had a history of construction problems. Before James bought the house, $250,000 was put in escrow for repairs. However, after Kevin James bought the house for $14 million, if ChatGPT is understanding this correctly, he allegedly didn't carry out the repairs and the escrow funds weren't used. An inspector later estimated the home needed $1.4 million in repairs, far more than what was initially anticipated. That's an understatement. Apparently, Kevin sold the property as is for $12.7 million in 2023. And there's a legal battle going on, and they're fighting over the escrow, and I don't know, but that's what's going on Gossip Corner. Zach Zimmerman has a new special out on YouTube, Surprise Me. Zach explores the definition of love across evangelical family members, romance gone wrong, and donuts done right. My kind of show. In this sweet and salty, I think that's code, magical stand-up special, Surprise Me is also available as an album. So they're right there. I like it. I'm pro Grammy then. Via Eugene Merman's Pretty Good Friends comedy label. Zach's also on tour. Are you in New Orleans? Why don't you stop by the Sports Drink Comedy Club on the 25th and 26th? That's this weekend. All right, The Guardian caught one of the shows at the Sydney Comedy Festival. They really liked Greg Larson's Greggy. They gave it 4 stars out of 5. The setup here, spoilers, as if you were heading down to Sydney to see this show. Greg Larson is broke, having his card declined at a McDonald's drive-thru just weeks before this year's Melbourne Festival was a watershed moment for him. He's 41. This, he says, is his last festival show. He's done. Geggy is his swan song, a chaotic journey through his career's highs and lows and the decisions that led him to that drive-thru. The show is a window into the reality of working as a comedian, from open mic gigs to glitzy award nights and the various day jobs that happen in between. It isn't a glamorous story. The theme of the show, if there is one, is money and the question of why Larson doesn't have any. And if you're like Johnny Mac, you don't cover Australian comedy festivals enough. I know, but I have good news for you. The Brisbane Comedy Festival, 16th edition, kicks off today. Yeah, from today until May 25th. 5 weeks, 4 venues, 135 acts. Who do you go see if you're down there? How about Granny Bingo? They are the nastiest nanas out there. How about the Aboriginal Comedy All-Stars? How about S-Faced Shakespeare? You know, Shakespeare if you've had a few too many drinks. And there's Future Science Talks Comedy Edition. Auntie Donna, they're not there, but 2 of the Auntie Donnas are. Broden Kelly, he's probably the most recognizable of the Auntie Donnas here in the States. He's got a solo show. And Zachary Roon teams up with Alexi Toliopoulos to do some sort of movie theme show. Some comedian names you may know, especially if you've listened to the show over the years: Reese Darby, Sarah Pesco, Arch Barker, Ross Noble, and Mark Watson. It is the Brisbane Comedy Festival. One of these years, I gotta, I could probably swing it money-wise, especially it would be a legit write-off if I went down there. But, the whole thing is I'm married and, who's letting the dogs out? Hey, I'm going to Australia for 4 weeks to cover comedy festivals. It's just not going to fly. I'm going to LA for 3 days. That flies. I'm going to Australia. What are you doing? I don't know. I'm hosting a comedy podcast. And that is your comedy news for today. If you enjoy the show, tell a friend about it. They might like it too. If you're on YouTube, smash the bell and like and all that YouTube-y stuff I don't understand. I'm old, YouTube kids. You don't need to make fun of my slideshow. I get it. I'm an old dude in the basement. But we're all slaves to the algorithm, so I got to make my little slideshow here. What do you want from me? All right, see you tomorrow.